All right, so I've got 4 or 5. I think only 4, but I might have 5. I can't remember exactly, but I'm cycling them through my head so I remember them properly. Quotes, phrases, Twitter bite-sized statements, and so on. Um, but before that, just a little recounting of something that just happened, where a crackhead basically went on the other side of the road from me, uh, talking at random stuff that wasn't there, and then he came around and came to the parking lot, and then he came out of the parking lot and started walking by me, and I just said hello, or hey, how's it going? And then he stops a little ways down the road and squats and starts staring at me until I stared at him back long enough and grinned at him, and then he got uncomfortable and walked away. So I scared the crackhead away. What can I say? But anyways, um, big government is the opium of the masses, not religion. Marx said religion is the opium of the masses. I say, as someone that knows religion and big government is the opium of the masses. Marx had no idea what he's talking about. Anyways, big government is the opium of the masses is the first quote. The second quote is, if fake soldiers are stolen valor, or fake animals, furries, stolen val fur. And that's just a crack at furries for whatever purposes you can imagine. Doesn't really matter. Not that important. Sic semper socialism, or sic semper socialists, probably socialism I would say is a better one. And that's a play on sic semper tyrannis, which means sic is to and semper is always. Always to is how it's said in English. To always is how it's said in Latin, because Latin's a funny language. But always to tyrannus, tyrants, is sic semper socialism. And it's basically saying the same thing, really, if you think about it. So yeah, okay, so that's the third quote. And the fourth quote is, and this one's a little more complex, but it's based on a C.S. Lewis quote of saying, C.S. Lewis's actual quote is, God speaks, whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks to us in our conscience, and shouts to us in our pain. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Not a deaf world, but a deaf world, hard of hearing. I would say small government, active community engagement, whispers to us in our republics, speaks to us in our traditionalism or traditions, and shouts at us in our anarcho-tyranny. It is our ancestors' megaphone to rouse a deaf Christendom or West, whichever one of those you prefer. Although traditionally speaking, the West is Christian, and the original name for the West was Christendom. It's basically the same thing, except it's recognizing that Christianity was the driving, unifying force of Europe and North America and so on for 2,000 years, basically. Anyways, those 4 quotes, I think, are bangers. Now, I think I might have taken big government is the religion of the is the opium of the people, or big government is the fentanyl of the people, from someone else. I think that might be the case, but it's a banger quote, so I love it, and I want people to spread that one around as much as possible, because it's so accurate when you think about it, right? Like religion, my religion tells me I have to help others myself with my limited resources and not rely on someone else to do it entirely without me helping out a little bit at least. Big government tells you, give power and money to someone else, and they'll do everything for you. If that's not an addiction of the sleepy, dreamy, mushy-brained, hedonistic, irresponsible, doesn't have a care in the world kind of drive, then what does, other than actual fentanyl? Right? It's not religion that does that. Religion tells us hard truths about how we need to do things ourselves and how suffering's a part of life and all that. It's big government that's the opium of the masses, or the fentanyl of the masses.